Welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. That is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Usually on Herb's left is our CHGO White Sox beat writer, Vinnie Duber, but today he is the man in the box. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and you can follow him at allchgo.com.
I mean, theoretically, if I look to my left and on camera, it looks like I'm looking at Vinnie.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Right. So there you go. Hi, Vinny. You're just over there. We have some stuff to talk about, Vinny. We have stuff to talk to Vinny with, and then we'll also have some clips from Vinny on the update of the clubhouse on the effing fine comments from Pedro Grifol. So we'll be able to unfold that a little bit, get more explanation from Pedro on what he meant, and then also some reaction from Gavin Sheets and Nicky Lopez on what they thought from their manager's reaction and what he said to the clubhouse, media, and dugout. The White Sox and Blue Jays are currently in a rain delay, bottom of the ninth. We're just waiting on 3 outs. It's a 7-2 game. Vinny, you must be pretty pumped.
I'm sorry, I was listening to both you and the announcement at the same time here. They say they expect the rain to be done in the next 15 to 30 minutes. They'll need 20 minutes to prep the field, so I don't think this one's getting called. So everybody go ahead and get comfy if you're waiting for the end of this one.
Well, yeah, Grumpy Pig is getting comfy. They said, I'd rather have a seagull pick my eyes out than watch the rest of this game. I'm being positive. So, hey, there you go. You can either have a seagull pick at your remains or watch the last 3 outs in 50 minutes. Let's get into what this game could have been. Mike Clevinger was supposed to take on Kevin Gausman, and then shortly before the game was announced as a rain delay, I believe, Mike Clevinger was announced as a scratch. He was also added to the 15-day IL. I know you were able to speak with him along with the rest of the assembled media. What did Clevinger have to say about this inflammation?
Yeah, so he said that, it was hard to say that he's been feeling it for a while, but he definitely said that in his last start it kind of popped up as a, quote, red flag. He said it's some fluid buildup in his elbow, which sounds gross, but it is obviously causing some discomfort and preventing him from doing what he wants to be doing, especially once he gets deeper into the games. He said that once he reaches a certain amount of pitches, he can kind of feel it, and affecting his arm and stuff like that. So he doesn't think this is very serious. Pedro Grifol didn't describe it as very serious either. So it would seem that after a couple of days, once his cortisone shot kind of kicks in, he's going to be back to throwing, and he hopes that he only misses a couple of starts and is right back out there. But asked whether this has been the reason for the short outings that we've seen from Mike Clevinger, he didn't seem to think so. And both he and Pedro were kind of chalking up the brevity of those outings to the fact that he didn't have spring training. He's still kind of ramping up in terms of stamina. But Pedro did kind of throw in the idea of maybe it has something to do with it, and they're both things are kind of at play. But he'll be out for the next 2 starts, and we saw Jake Woodford tonight kind of pressed into a spot start situation. I don't know if he's going to be the guy the next turn through the rotation or what. There's been a lot of obviously juggling with this rotation all year long so far, but we'll see where it goes from here. But Mike Clevinger won't be making, obviously he didn't make tonight's start, and he probably won't be making his next one either.
I assume Jake Woodford wasn't just milling around Chicago and then, you're scratched, Clevinger. They probably had to know about this a couple days ago, so having Woodford in reserve, see what I did there, was already in the plans for the White Sox. So I didn't think he pitched too poorly, but as you said, I don't know if he's too long for after Clevinger comes back. He'll probably be going right back to the minor leagues himself. So it was a fine start for a person that had apparently short notice, but did Pedro or anybody else speak about Woodford and how his role would be?
The game's still going.
I know. I mean, pregame.
Oh.
Pregame, not postgame. I know.
Yeah, well, obviously Pedro was very complimentary of what Jake Woodford did in spring training, so he obviously had that to lean back on as a positive reminder of, or a positive memory of what Woodford maybe was going to do this evening. But in terms of the role in the future, it's just, he's going to be here until Mike Clevinger comes back, and I would venture to guess that unless he kind of really blows them away, and he didn't do that tonight, so unless he blows them away with what he's able to do the next time out, I'm not sure how long he is. He might just be going right back to Charlotte. But hey, this is a regular kind of baseball-y thing, right? I mean, this is something that happens every year. Starting pitcher is going to go on the IL every once in a while. You're going to need guys down in the minor leagues. I think everybody knows, whether you're with a team or just watching it like we are, everybody knows that it's going to take more than just the 5 guys in the starting rotation. The White Sox have used many more than that already, but that in itself is not necessarily unusual. I think you look at teams across baseball and they're doing similar things on a regular basis. It just so happens that the guy the White Sox have is Jake Woodford.
Having flu in your elbow probably doesn't feel good.
No. What was the injury that you didn't like too? What was the injury last year?
The cyst in Michael Kopech's knee was gross. That's grosser than this. But yeah.
I think you probably get fluid from a cyst bursting. So I mean,
they had to drain it. They had to drain it, if you'll remember. Yeah, it's gross.
The cyst, or did Clevinger get drained?
No, the cyst. Okay. Clevinger got a cortisone shot.
Gotcha. I don't know how science works. Does cortisone suck up fluid in the? I don't know. I don't know. So again, you just to circle back a little bit to Clevinger, it's pretty much because he didn't have a spring training. Like that's like the
why
reason
he's hurt.
Yeah, like
no,
I mean,
he's hurt because he's hurt. But I mean, what I was explaining was that listen, when you hear that a guy who hasn't completed 5 innings in 4 starts has an injury, my first thought was, is the injury the reason that he hasn't been completing 5 innings? Is the reason that he can't go deep into games that he has been pitching hurt, or that he has been getting to the point where he is so hurt that he has to go on the injured list? And so those are questions that I asked of both Clevinger and Pedro Grifol, and both of them seem to say, for the most part, no. They think that the reason that he is his starts have been short is because he's still trying to gain stamina, a guy who didn't have a spring training and signed after the season started.
Before this game started, we had some other good news, though. Looks like Luis Robert Jr. is in Charlotte, hitting pop fly home runs. What did Pedro have to say about, I know he didn't see the home run, but what did Pedro have to say about Luis Robert Jr. taking the next step from getting here to Chicago?
Yeah, I think this is obviously the very beginning of the rehab assignment. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a super long one, but I think what the message from the White Sox and Pedro Grifol is that they need to make sure that he's all right, that he's feeling good, that he's healthy. Obviously people see, oh, he hits a home run on his first at bat, he's fine, bring him back right away. But as Pedro explained it before the game, they want to, what happens in the game is not terribly important. They want to know how he's feeling, that he's healthy, that he's able to do all the stuff that he's going to be asked to do once he gets back to the big league team and off of the injured list. So Pedro said, what happens in the game is not nearly as important as the conversations that Luis is going to have with the coaching staff, the training staff, the front office, whoever it is, both tonight after the game is over and tomorrow when he shows up to the park again, right? How are you feeling? How's your body bouncing back? That kind of thing. They want to make sure that he can run and play the outfield and dive for catches and swing the bat. And listen, if he's going to do all that, feel healthy and hit home runs, then that's obviously a big time plus. But just because you see a home run or any collection of stats is not necessarily a reflection of health, which is the most important thing for the White Sox in this process.
I think the last thing I got for you, alongside of both health, but also an update on a player that's on the active roster, you had your diehard weekly Monday mailbag, or not Monday mailbag, but weekly newsletter for our diehards that they can go check at allchgo.com about Brian Ramos and Pedro's comments on him playing third base. Where is Moncada at, and will these two overlap to a point where Moncada's not playing third base and Ramos is for the White Sox? Was there any talk from Pedro specifically that, once Moncada comes up, Ramos is going down, because then his ability to play third base is taken away?
No one's talking about Moncada yet. He is still a significant ways away, right? His injury was more serious than Luis's, and so his timeline is obviously going to be much longer. Now, I think the last update we heard was a positive one, right? Because I think we were guessing the night that Yohan got hurt that it maybe could have been the end of his season, but. He's still not due back until after the All-Star break. That's late July. That is 2 months from now. And so Brian Ramos is a third baseman for those 2 months, right? I think the idea is that he's not going to shift over at any other point. But it is an outstanding question what's going to happen when Moncada gets back. The thing is, as you're seeing play out in real time right now, sometimes those things take care of themselves, right? And so sometimes you got Brian Ramos. He's not hitting very well right now at all. His 3 at-bats tonight, all groundouts at third base, they look pretty ugly. He might need to go back down to the minor leagues. And that's fine. That's not going to, spell doom and gloom for the rest of his career, but it might make it so there is no overlap with Yohan Moncada, right? It might make it so this is not a question. But this is just speculation. These are just things that could happen. We have to see what happens over the next 2 months to see if that question comes to a head, or to see what happens. Does Yohan Moncada go play another position? Does Brian Ramos go to the minors? What happens? We don't know. We're not going to know, rather, until July.
And Vinny, we got to talk to you after you sent us that video the other day of Pedro coming in pretty much saying, team is effing flat. And then he doubled down yesterday while we were at the game. We didn't get to speak to you on the air. What's the reaction of the players since the doubling down of Pedro saying this team played effing flat on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they agreed. And I'm not speaking for every single person in the clubhouse, but the people that we talked to seemed to, first of all, point out how good the pitcher was that they were facing on Sunday in Bradish. Is that how you pronounce it? Bradish, whatever it is. This guy's one of the better pitchers in the American League last year. He goes out and has a really good game. They take him out of the game and they finally get a hit, right? So I mean, this guy was really dealing the other day, and so I think a lot of the guys who had to actually face him gave deference to him and saying that it was the at bats maybe looked the way they did because the pitcher looked the way he did. But I think too, and I explained this that day on Sunday when Corey Lee's comments about disagreeing with Pedro kind of caught fire a little bit. And these guys are professionals, right? I mean, they don't want to sit here and hear, hey, you guys didn't try hard today at your job. You know what I mean? Like you guys didn't perform well because you didn't try, kind of thing. I mean, they obviously all think that they're doing that all the time. Now, I had a great talk with Zach Remillard yesterday in which he said, like, just because we are going to go out there and try to give 100% doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect, and doesn't mean there aren't going to be days where we do need to, a reminder that we're not doing well, or need to be disciplined or something like that. So I think that it's a spectrum more than it is a yes or a no, right? And I think that another thing to remember, which is very easy for fans to do because they're not in the clubhouse, they're not in the dugout, they're only seeing what they see on the field, and that's the results are separate from what Pedro was complaining about, right? Because Pedro goes ahead and makes those comments after a game where they get almost no hit, where they only score 1 run, where they lose to, right? And then the next day, yesterday, what happened? They go out, they lose, they only score 1 run. It's basically the same result. But Pedro, after the game, said he was happy with the at bats and he thought that they competed and stuff like that. So the ability that he has to read his team is much different than just what the results are from us watching from afar, or from us looking at a box score or something like that. Just because you don't get many hits doesn't mean you're flat. Or just because you lose doesn't mean you're flat. He was complaining about a very specific performance from his team on Sunday. But the clubhouse, I don't think that it's what people obviously are going to jump to, the conclusion they're going to jump to when they see Pedro makes a criticism and then the players say openly, no, I disagree with that kind of thing. They're allowed to disagree, and I don't think it ruins anything or signals that he's lost any them or anything like that, even though that's a quick and easy conclusion for people on the outside to come to. It was just a day where he felt the need to complain, and the players didn't necessarily agree with him or even really like it. We had Gavin Sheets say, that something that happened in a closed door meeting got outside the closed doors. That's not something that anybody, Pedro specifically, likes. You know what I mean? He doesn't like any of that kind of stuff either, and yet he felt the need to go make that complaint in front of the cameras and in front of the media. So it's probably just a one-day thing, and it would look a lot different to a lot of people, myself included, right, if they weren't what they are, which is a last place team that is off to the worst start in franchise history, which has had all sorts of days in which the results have been terrible and could have earned criticism and didn't. So I understand where folks are coming from when they're like, what makes this day different than all the days before? And it looks a lot different because of what those days before looked like.
And you got, you're waiting 50 minutes to get handed your 7th straight loss. So it's just kind of, again, weird why the 5th straight loss in the midst of a 1-9 stretch is the game. But we do have more reaction from Pedro. He did explain that on Monday, and we do have that video for you so you can hear Pedro's thought process on calling out the team, along with Gavin Sheets' video and Nicky Lopez video that Vinny sent in. We have over 50 people watching and only 9 likes, so make sure that you are giving Vinny that sign that you do appreciate his work from Guaranteed Rate Field, because he's going to be there for at least probably an hour and a half, and we thank him for that. Follow Vinny on X or Twitter or whatever at Vinnie Duber. You can read his work at allchgo.com. We will let you get out of here, Vinny, in case Pedro Grifol comes a-calling. But thank you very much for joining us here and the updates on Clev. We will talk to you tomorrow, or Herb will talk to you tomorrow. I won't.
Sounds good, guys. We'll see you.
See you on Thursday. We want to let you know about our friends over at Circa Sportsbook. Our friends at Circa Sportsbook, the best part about them is there are real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use chatbots. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. I've told the story before, but again, it's kind of traumatic at this point. I call a different sportsbook's helpline. It's a 1-800 number. I press 1 to get a call back. It takes me about 30 to 45 minutes to get a call back. Then I get a link to join a chat. Well, actually, no, I get a call back, and then the person doesn't have a license to help people in Illinois.
Trash.
So then I have to go online, and then I wait in a queue, and there's 14 people that I'm waiting behind, and it takes forever for me to get one question answered. That's not the case with Circa Sportsbook, and they cater to you. They don't limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limit, unlike other books who do limit winning players, and they encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available so you can compare the lines from each sports book, and you can see why Circa Sportsbook, the world's largest sports book, has the best lines most of, if not all of the time. So download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. That's circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, or text GMB to 833-234, or visit areyourreallywinning.com. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Prize Picks. They threw our watch along today, which was a lot of fun. We watched this hellacious 7-2 loss for the Chicago White Sox, but Prize Picks made it fun. They're America's #1 sports fantasy app with more than 5 million members. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. My favorite part is it takes little than 60 seconds to get an entry in. You just need to pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. I knew immediately that I thought Kevin Gausman would strike out enough White Sox tonight. I immediately thought, hey, our guy Andrew Benintendi just went 3 for 4. I'll ride those guys. I picked more on their player projections, and I lost. But hey, if you faded me, which is a pretty good strategy, you would have won. And also the finals are coming up in the NBA, which means more on Prize Picks. And so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. So go try all the fun you're missing out on over at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that Easy. All right, let's hear from Pedro Grifol. This is under 3 minutes, so hopefully it's digestible enough. I know we don't like to hear a ton from Pedro Grifol, but when it's a little bit different of a tone, we'll tune in and listen. So here is at least 3 minutes of Pedro Grifol going into the team being effing flat.
I'm doubling down on what I said yesterday, okay? I thought we were flat, and that's where I'm going to leave it. We have to make adjustments today, okay, and go out there and play the game, as hard as we can. And they got their opinions. I have mine. This is not divided by any means. This is not them against Pedro against them. It's just a situation, okay? I thought we were flat. They didn't think we were flat. It's over. We got to go out there and play baseball.
You've described yourself as, your players have described yourself as even-keeled. When there comes a moment where you're not even-keeled, what does that say?
I don't know. I don't know what it says to them. I mean, everybody's got, a moment, where, if for me, it's all about respecting the uniform, respecting the opportunity to be a major leaguer. Okay, it's a privilege to be here. Obviously, everyone in this building has earned the right to be here, but you still got to earn the right to stay here, okay? And you can't take any days off. You can't, not here. This is the big leagues, And if you wanna take days off, then this is not the place to do it. So, I am even keeled. I've been managing now for 200 and whatever games, and everybody's got that point where, like, okay, we got to turn it up, and that was yesterday.
Is there, knowing that way you approach it, was there a purpose of making it more public or saying it more openly to try to, was that an intentional thing to try to get more motivation out of it?
No, I don't talk about our meetings in there or what kind of stuff. I come out here after the game, and I describe the game every single day, right? We talk about what happened in the game. I talked about yesterday what happened in the game. I didn't think we were all there. So it's not about making it a point in public, that's not what I'm about. You know that. I don't, it's not about.
It's not about, I think the comment ends up saying, Pedro making a point is how he kind of ends that statement.
Pedro? Did he say Pedro?
He did say Pedro.
Talked about himself in third person
Talked
again?
about himself in the third person.
Herb didn't like that.
Herb did not like that. Sean's going to make a point now and see if you like it. Again, this is just weird that he calls out this lineup. I know Fam's a part of it, but it's a lineup that has Fam, Vaughn, Sheets, Corey Julks, Corey Lee, Brian Ramos, Nicky Lopez, Zach Remillard, and Dominic Fletcher in it. It just feels like a guy getting puffy chest against people who he actually can get puffy chested. And it's 200 games of this guy not doing it. And if it happened on May 26th of last year, maybe I'd understand, because this team was just as bad. These players are getting paid more than these guys. Like, go talk to the people that actually have skins on the wall that earned that major league jersey that maybe not are respecting it right now. I think Zach Remillard loves the major league contract that he's getting. That's life-changing money. He gets to say he's a major leaguer. He's played his butt off for the most part when he's been here. I know he got picked off at third base in New York, but I just dislike that Pedro chose this moment, and even though they lost 4 straight games against the Orioles, for the most part, they played pretty well against a good Orioles team, or at least played close enough to where there was some, exciting, maybe less blowout games than I expected. So from a guy that never made the majors, I understand, hey, respect the jersey. Yeah. You don't know when this could be taken away from you. I get that point.
Yeah.
Make it last year.
That would be a good thing. And then you brought up my point, like, what about Sunday's game was different than any other one where they looked lifeless and didn't have a chance to win a game? There's so many times that I would tweet out just a simple, what Hawk used to say, this ball game is over, and it was 3-1, and it was the 5th inning, because I knew this team wouldn't come back and grab the 2 extra runs they needed to, because I know they weren't talented. You just read off the people. If you read off that in March to somebody and said, this is going to be a lineup in the major leagues, that person would have said to you in return, that lineup will not hit a lot of home runs, and it won't hit for average at all. So, yeah, I get frustration with them all accumulating, but those players like Gavin Sheets is like, dude, we're trying. Kyle Bradish is tough. You saw him out there, and you're going to bus toss us to the media? You could bus toss us in here. And I think that was his point. Like, bus toss us in here. Keep that in-house, though. When you go out there and talk to them, you say, man, tough play, tough game, Kyle Bradish, Baltimore Orioles, man, they're just one of the toughest teams to play in this American League, et cetera, et cetera. But then Pedro's like, no, they were flat. There's no ownership of his team being flat. He's otherizing himself from them, which I would, if I was a player, I would feel some type of way that he's saying they were flat, and he's putting the blame on the players instead of saying we were flat.
Right.
We need to do better. Pedro Grifol, need to do better, getting them not flat and playing that way. So when you call your team out like that, you are pointing the finger, but you got three pointing right back at you, Pedro.
And also, maybe if you say you played fucking flat, give them the chance to respond to it in game. Like, let them come out on Monday, and if they're flat, then you call them out. And it's like, hey, I called them out yesterday for being flat, and I saw the same thing again. It's like, I don't know. I mean, you brought up Gavin. Let's hear from Goatee Gav about his thoughts on the fucking flat comments.
When you hear the manager say flat, how do you take that? Do you take it to mean not enough energy in the dugout, approaches at the plate, effort? I mean, how did you guys receive that?
I'm not sure. I thought we ran into a pretty good pitcher yesterday with really good stuff, and his numbers speak for themselves. He obviously had a great year last year and coming off injury, but I talked to McCann last night, and McCann was like he was as good as I've seen him. So. I thought we attacked. We had a game plan. Obviously Mendy coming in and getting that pinch hit was huge for us. Credit to him coming off the bench in that situation. But yeah, I don't know what. Sometimes guys have their A stuff, and a guy like that who's got Cy Young type stuff, when he's throwing the ball the way he did, all you can do is compete.
When a guy dominates for 7 innings, or like Pedro said, not enough adjustments, but is it hard to adjust when somebody has a 4-pitch mix like he has? Or
yeah, that's a tough thing. I mean, you're adjusting, but every at bat he's showing something different. And I thought the way he located yesterday was the biggest thing. He was working 4 pitches, he threw me 3 different breaking balls, back-to-back 2-0 counts. It didn't really matter the count, the pitch. He was locating and he was moving the ball around, and so 3 at bats off him, I feel like I saw 3 different pitchers almost. So. Credit to him for the way he was working the baseball, and it was one of those games you had 2 aces going after it. I mean, I don't know how many hits they hit, but I know they had 2 or 3 hits through 8 as well. So, obviously Adley got that one big hit, but it was a pitcher's duel.
I liked Gav's just big comment after, I believe it's Scott Greger asked that comment. It's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the lack of adjustments. I don't know if it was the energy in the dugout. And Gavin saying, felt like I faced 3 different pitchers out there. Kind of speaks to what Kyle Bradish did, striking out 11, not allowing a hit. And again, the White Sox drew 4 walks. That doesn't seem like the White Sox to sit there and draw walks. So again, I just don't get it. I don't get the comments of effing flat.
Yeah, and he said that's player experience. Said that he got 3 different breaking balls when he was up 2-0. Like, who throws a breaking ball firstly on 2-0? How much confidence that man has to have to throw a breaking ball to get swing and misses out of there. And then if it's 3 different, you can't even sit on one. The first time he threw me a 2-0 slider, I'm going to sit on that 2-0 slider this at bat, and I'm going to crush it. No, 2-0 changeup or 2-0 splitter, whatever he threw. But, man, sometimes pitchers got to get the tip of the cap too, and I'm sure Kyle Bradish is hearing Pedro saying his team is fucking flat, and looking at Pedro and it's like, man, look at my resume. We're acting like I'm some crumb bum. Like, your team sucks. But I was also out there dealing, as Gavin said in that clip. He talked to his former teammate James McCann and said, man had his best stuff, and James McCann would know, like, that guy has caught him for the last 2 years, so we know that Bradish has his good stuff when he does, and he wouldn't be lying to people.
Well, and Gav's probably reaching out after the game too, being like, "Hey, man, why is this guy saying this? Like, am I off? Am I just wrong that Kyle Bradish wasn't that good, and I should have been, looking 2-0 breaking ball? Like, I don't get it, and I'm not really latching on to Pedro, especially after 200 games where he's got a 76 and 141 record.
Got that many wins? 76? Wow.
I really hope that he gets the chance to lose 200 games before he wins his 100th.
How? Like you said, 76 and what? 150?
Yeah. Oof. They can go 50, and I mean,
he's
at 140. This game isn't over, but they're at 15 and 40, so he'd be at 76 and 142.
So he would have to lose 58 games before he wins 24.
Correct math. I didn't even get to punch that in my calculator, and you're out here beating me. It's possible, right?
I mean, it's possible,
if this
but
team goes,
it's improbable, isn't it?
I mean, the 39 game stretch, and they're 1-10.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I don't know. I mean,
that's a good point.
So 15 and 24, that would take them to what? 39 wins. So yeah, 39, and then 59 plus 41 is 100. So at some point they can't go 39 and 100. That'd be awful. Okay, yeah, maybe they won't go 39 and 100.
I mean, you would
39 and 100 is real bad.
They're 15 and 40 right now. I would have thought that manager of any team would be fired by this point. This bad. So that's why I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, if they get to 140 games or 139 games and they're 39 and 100, they're going to fire. I don't think you can get there. I don't think as a team they'll allow that person to get that bad of a record. I hope they won't.
I think they will. We do have one more video to play. It's from everyone's favorite and Sarah's favorite. I don't think we even introduced Sarah. Sarah's our producer tonight.
Hi.
Hello. Have I just been icing you out for 31 minutes?
That's okay. We've been live, technically for like 3 hours now.
It's very true. But shout out to Sarah, too. We had a very successful takeover. We saw Jack K and a ton of people that are hanging out with us in the chat yesterday. And Sarah was our commander. She was leading us from bar to bar. She was getting us set up at Turtles. So shout out to Sarah.
Our guy Luke brought us a couple, South Bend Cubs
Dylan
Cease
that was
cards.
dope. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, you got one, too?
Yeah, he did. He
Hell
said
yeah.
he got one for all of us. And I was like, oh, my God.
And then even Vinny came over and he slipped one to Vinny. And
I know.
was like, oh, look at that.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, thanks,
I
Luke.
love nice people.
Very nice people. We have a lot of nice diehards. We're going to take a break in just a second, but let's hear from Nicky Lopez and his thoughts on what the effing flat comment made to.
I don't think it was more of, obviously we're all going out there and competing, and we want to get the job done as professionals. But sometimes it can be looked at as coming out flat. We didn't get a hit for the first 8 innings. It was kind of dead in the dugout because there was really nothing to get up for. We lost a couple close games to them where I think we battled pretty good early in the season or early in the series, and then we got it shoved to us pretty good. Bradish was on. He was throwing a 3-4 pitch mix, and I think that's kind of what it was.
Bradish, he was on. He might be from Naperville, my friends, but he's got the accent. Yeah, I think it's kind of just rah-rah bullshit, at least from Nicky. And I think not bashing Nicky's comments. I think Nicky's explaining it that, the team wasn't as locked in as the dugout as they could have been. And I think that's what Pedro's upset about. But again, they're adults who are probably sick of getting their ass kicked. And here comes Kyle Bradish, who just comes out and kicks their ass. And Gavin Sheets, who is one of the best hitters on this team right now, is saying, hey, it looks like I faced 3 different pitchers up there. Like, that just seems brutal. That just seems, I don't know, like a difficult time out there. So, of course, the clubhouse and the dugout's going to be quiet. What do you want to... Hey, man, we just had a great night. Like, were they out drinking on Saturday and, like, hungover? Like, is it that? Like, I don't want to... that is just truly speculation, but is it like, oh, you're not respecting the uniform because you're not showing up and you're not putting in the work? Like, it doesn't seem like it's that. It doesn't seem like these guys are hungover and partying. It just seems like Kyle Bradish is pretty good.
Yeah, as you said, they drew 4 walks. Like, Kyle Bradish is a tough customer, and they're like, we don't usually do this. Yeah, we didn't get any hits, but we're getting on base. We're doing things that we don't normally do. And, yeah, the result's not great, and it's embarrassing to be no-hit up until the 8th inning. But they got it done in KPW, and I think Joe Van Scowen said on a tweet, 11:15 resume time for the game. Yeah, and they're all professionals. They don't need Pedro to tell them that they have to respect the uniform. Those guys are all, like, on the fringe of being major leaguers, like, for the most part. So they're going to bring it each time. They just don't have the talent to give the results that we would want them to have. So, yeah, I think Pedro was totally out of line with his comments, and this conversation could have been had in spring training. This conversation could have been had, as you said, in May of last year. This year, it's kind of rings hollow and just being mad just to be mad, like, oh, I still care type of bullshit. Who cares? We know you care. You're having a time of your life. You're being a major league manager. You don't need to do the, oh, I'm throwing shit and I'm throwing over tables and nobody's out here concentrating. We're all slacking type of shit. No one cares about that. And especially not the players. They're not going to listen to that. We think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, now we're getting to play because Pedro said so.
Vance Joseph is out here having the time of his life. And shout out to our guy in the chat, Anthony, who I can't believe this. Sean wants to make a quick aside, if Sean can make a quick aside.
Go ahead, Sean. Herb says that's cool.
I can't believe on a White Sox post-game show, we have one person coming in here while there is a live Cubs show in Studio B to come and comment, go Cubs, the White Sox World Series will be at Wrigley Field next week, with a fucking Brad Paisley profile picture.
What a nerd.
Get out of here. Ban him, please.
Yeah. What a
woof.
What a turd. I'm like,
come on.
Like I'm saying, you can go over there and watch their show. What use is it you coming in here saying what you said just to antagonize? That's, man, the life must be tough, Anthony.
I'm a big fan of Nationwide jingle. I love the Nationwide jingle. Brad Paisley's my hero.
I saw him down in
Cubs,
Nashville.
Go. You did?
Yeah.
Do you regret it?
No, he was doing the announcing for the draft lottery.
Oh, you didn't.
I didn't like say hi.
Saw Brad Paisley. I thought
you
we went to Nashville for a Brad Paisley concert by the sound of that.
Ugh.
No, I know it didn't sound like you. I didn't believe it, but
no, I would never. If Brad Paisley was playing in my backyard, I would yell out the windows like "Stop playing" and close the blinds and put some noise canceling headphones on.
Probably pop in some edibles. We'll head over to our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. They're your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your summer. Again, they are the home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. So if you are a newbie and you are just getting into the legalized medical or recreational cannabis dispensary game, Sunnyside can help you through that process. And they also have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from. They have your indicas, they have your sativas, they have your hybrids, they have your indica hybrids, they have your sativa hybrids. Go check them out. And they have easy online ordering and in-store pickup to make it easiest for you. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you, and they have spots as far as south as Champaign and as far as north as South Beloit. So stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff or select from quality lines like Cresco or Floracal. Also, yeah, the guy in the Grateful Dead shirt is pushing cannabis. That's so cliche. Shout out Bill Walton. That's the reason why I'm wearing this. Skypoint. I'm also pushing cannabis because I have a medical card, because I have epilepsy. I've had 18 seizures over the past 2 years. And you know what helps me? Cannabis. So, hey, look at that. That's great. I'm just trying to help myself. I will go pick up some good old Simply Herb. You're Simply Herb.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good bang for your buck at Sunnyside. And you can, too, by heading to sunnyside.shop and use code HICHGO, that's HICHGO, at checkout for 35% off brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois Med Card holders. And we also want to let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays. It's been a beautiful couple days in the city. Beautiful. So get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have a durable frame and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And they have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And they even have a style in your team's favorite color. Very easy for us if you are a fan of the Chicago White Sox. But they have been great on my walks. They make driving much, much easier. And especially when I was at the game yesterday, I wish I had my Shady Rays and did not forget them, because when that sun peeked out, it was tough to see. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. The Red Sox hat is the worst crime. I mainly just wore it because, again, the Bill Walton thing. He played for Boston. It was either the Boston Red Sox hat, and it's the 1999 All-Star game. So, I mean, it's a memorable one. You got the Pedro strikeouts. Ted Williams comes out in a golf cart.
Tony
Gwynn. Or it was the San Diego Petco Park hat I have, because he's from San Diego.
He is.
But I don't know. He called an Angels game for the White Sox.
He did.
So I wasn't sure. But, yeah, shout out to Bill Walton, a really magnificent person in this world, and it sucks that we will lose him and not be able to listen to Pac-12 games where he's talking about the vast Sonora Desert. It's great to have somebody who can understand and appreciate the vastness and greatness of the Sonora Desert.
I'm the luckiest man alive.
I'm the luckiest. The epitome of Usain Bolt is the speed of Wellington Castillo. Him calling for Ricky to be extended in that game. Print the banners.
On the Studs Turkle Bridge.
On the Studs Turkle Bridge.
Which I don't
White
think there's
Sox
such a place.
winner. So R.I.P. Bill Walton, a guy that was easily able to light people up. All right. I think I want to get a little bit into the Clevinger stuff. We heard from Vinny. The fluid in the elbow doesn't sound too good. And I know that it does sound, at least per Vinny, that Mike Clevinger feels all right and Pedro Grifol feels all right, and that in a couple of days after the cortisone shot, everything's going to be all right. But this is a guy that we saw last year have injury issues. This is a guy before in his life who has a lot of injury issues. That's part of the reason, not even the full equation with the off-field stuff on why he did not get, first off, a contract before the White Sox this year, and then also no one wanted to trade him for him last year because they really couldn't trust a person that they were trading for. This is just a very, very, very stupid signing.
Yes.
We called it the second it happened. I was ready to quit my job when the rumors even started, and I know some people think that's drastic, and it definitely was. I probably spoke a little bit too irrationally there, but I think it's a disgrace for the White Sox to give this guy $4 million, knowing what happened after they signed their 2022 contract. You can give them a little bit of leeway because they didn't know about it when they first signed it, but they did know about it with this one. And you could have signed 4 different Chris Flexens. You could have given a ton of opportunities to different pitchers. And if you were looking for innings, Mike Clevinger ate 16 innings, and I don't think it's going to be good news for the guy that has consistent injuries, did not have a real spring training, and is going out there and trying to throw 90 pitches each start. Sounds like a bad recipe for disaster, and in my opinion, with my doctoral degree from, I don't know, UCLA. Where did I go get my doctoral? St. Xavier?
Yeah, St. Xavier.
Yeah, okay. Northeastern Illinois, go Huskies, go Golden Eagles. I don't think Michael Clevinger is going to pitch for the White Sox again. I think this is going to end in some sort of surgery. That's my vibe, but maybe I'm just pessimistic. Crochet got ejected?
I don't know where that is from. I don't know what it's from, but might have to check that out. Minidar says that. But I also want to correct my thing. There is a Studs Circle Bridge. It's on Division Street, so I will never, ever besmirch the name of Bill Walton and ever second guess him again. My bad, Bill Walton.
Because then Studs Adam made his thing Studs Circle for a bit, I think, or Studs Circle Bridge.
Yeah, and so when that happened, you know me, I felt the same way as you did, and to sign him a second time after knowing what he has been accused of, like, this is the thing, folks. Like, I don't care how good of a pitcher somebody is. If you're accused of domestic abuse, child abuse, and other things like that, I'm not signing you. I don't want you around my team. Like, why would you put your fans in that situation? And there's a lot of fans, both women and men, that feel a certain way about that player. I do not like Mike Clevinger. And there's a lot of lady fans who feel the same way because of the things he's been accused of and people they've talked to and the experiences they themselves have gone through. And so why would the White Sox put themselves and their fan base through that to have somebody that's accused of that? I don't care if he's a goddamn Cy Young Award candidate every year. It's not worth it to alienate your fans. Like I said today while we're watching the game, if he would have been taking his regular start today, it would have been hard for us to do the watch along because I would have been actively rooting against him, actively saying, I don't want this guy to succeed. And I see you, White Sox, Tom. That goes double for Trevor Bauer. Double. Why would you want to put yourself in any situation where a person's been accused of heinous crimes, whether they have been adjudicated or not, or they've actually gone to trial? I don't care. Go and find somebody else. He's not that good of a pitcher, firstly. Secondly, it's not worth the juice is not worth the squeeze. And so when he does come back, and I hope he doesn't as a White Sox, I'll be rooting against him and waiting for the day that he's no longer a White Sox. And if I ever see Chris Getz in person, I'm like, stop signing trash people. Stop it. Like, this is not helping your cause with me as a fan or any fans out here, that you're signing trash people to contracts to pay for the White Sox and making them choose on a game day to root against your own team because you're signing trash people. So, yeah, I hope that his elbow is not well. I hope that they have to just DFA the guy and send him on his way with $4 million, and he never is a White Sox or a Major League pitcher again. It'll be great.
And we did get confirmation that Crochet did get ejected. The beat writers are tweeting it out, and Vinny texted us. Broadcast cut into Graham Bensinger's interview with Jerry Seinfeld. Great. To show replay of Crochet yelling at umps right when delays started. Hard to tell what he was upset about. Best guess, because he seemed to have pointed down the third base line, is he's mad that they didn't go into a delay sooner. Mad someone could have been hurt. I have no idea. So we will have at least some drama popping out. But yeah, I mean, it's mainly just, it's gross that the White Sox were so desperate in this type of year to go out and extend an olive branch to Mike Clevinger when the rest of the league was not interested in him. So, I don't know. Wasn't expecting it to take this turn. I don't know why I went down there. Jake Woodford?
Hey.
Jake Woodford.
He did just as
40% slider.
He did just as much as Clevinger would have did today, and I think probably better.
Yeah, 4 in a third innings pitch, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 4 Ks, and 2 walks. Gosman, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 4 hits, 3 Ks, and 1 walk. Woodford looked fine, and I did have the thought during the walk-along, like maybe he could be a bullpen guy just because his sweeper's like fairly decent, doesn't have a fast fastball. But, I mean, Mark Leiter Jr. is a guy that doesn't have like crazy actual stuff, but he's able to get both righties and lefties out. Jake Woodford in his career has not been able to get righties or lefties out, but I wonder if he gets a little bit of a velocity boost. Maybe he's a guy. I don't think they're actively going to try to get him to be a guy in their bullpen, but, you know, if he goes down to Charlotte, because I think he could probably pass through waivers once he's taken off the 40-man, I think they could probably, maybe he's worth a shot.
Fine. Like, what do you think he tops out at if he using his fastball? Like today, he was like 92 fastball, but maybe he's using that in reserve, as we saw with Michael Soroka, where he was sitting like 94 when he was a regular starter. Then when he got in the bullpen, he was 96, 97. Do you think he's got at least 94 available where can he sit there? Because 91 in the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of. How fast does Mark Leiter Jr. throw, Cody? Okay, he's up to 95. All right. So maybe 94? Jake Woodford can get up to 94? That's our saving grace? out of the bullpen?
Hey, that sweeper looks filthy when it does its job. When it doesn't, where there was a couple times in this game where he hung a couple sweepers. Luckily, he was playing versus the Toronto Blue Jays, who, man, they missed a lot of fat-ass pitches right in the middle of the plate. So he need to hone in on that craft of having that sweeper not be that cement mixer that he was throwing a couple times, because they kept him in the ballpark, but not by much.
Yeah, and Sammy Martin's going to take us into our final topic. This is likely going to be the 7th straight loss for the Chicago White Sox. Back on Friday, May 17th, they started this grueling 39-game stretch where they have won one game. They had a 4-game losing streak, followed that up with a 7-game losing streak. They are 1-11 to start off this 39-game stretch. Sam's asking, why are the Sox a team this year? Baseball should really consider a 24-team league, relegation for bottom teams. First off, you're not going to promote just a AAA team, because why? They don't have the actual stadiums to hold those, and they're just having AAA teams. Like, they're not actual separate franchises. They're linked to the teams that would be relegated. So that technically wouldn't work. And also, too, it looks like they're closer to expansion than, relegation or decreasing. It seems like they have enough pitching talent to have 32 teams. So maybe the White Sox get a little better because teams get a little thinner, but that also means the White Sox will get thinner.
Yes, because the White Sox are making those decisions.
Yay. When does this stop? When does the pain stop? Is Chris Flexen able to stop this bleeding, or is Alek Manoah going to shove it up their giggy? Using your term and Terry Boers' term.
No, it's not. They're going to lose that game too tomorrow. I hope you tune in, though, people. So watch us in the post game till we recap the White Sox losing to the Toronto Blue Jays, getting swept by the Blue Jays, getting swept by or vacuumed by the Baltimore Orioles, and then losing to the Blue Jays 2 out of 3 up in Toronto. Like, it's been just woeful this last couple weeks, and it's not over. Mm-hmm. This weekend, they go to Milwaukee. Like, it's not over. Milwaukee, and then they go to the Cubs.
They should have a good chance against Milwaukee. I don't want to be crazy. Friday, they have Fetty starting. Milwaukee doesn't have an announced starter. Okay. Saturday, they have Crochet.
Okay.
Milwaukee has Robert Gasser, who does have some stuff, but also he's a rookie. So I know that the White Sox first time up against somebody, and if they have confidence, maybe they'll shove it up their giggy. Maybe we'll see another effing flat comment. But I mean, you have your two aces. You could win this series. You could win a game at least. At this point, again, I just don't want to see 0-10 in their last 10. I don't need a 10-game losing streak from the White Sox.
They haven't done that this year.
Just one game. No
10-game losing. I think it got as high as 8.
4.
It was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right?
6, yeah. So, and now they're up to 7 again. So, is this repeating? It was 4 and then 7. So
now we're going to 7, and then we're going back down. It's like 7 win, 6 win, 5 win, 4 win.
Shout out to our guy Victor Von Doom. When is the last time y'all had a super chat? You guys have been putting in some great content for this abysmal season. My question is Pedro's job now in jeopardy? We appreciate it, Victor Von Doom. Again, I don't think I will believe Joe Colley's reporting that Jerry Reinsdorf thought last year was a fireable offense, and if he thought last year was a fireable offense, I think Jerry Reinsdorf would rather save the $1 million than firing Pedro Grifol a year and a half too early. So I think Pedro might get to the end of the season and then be fired, but I just don't think that there's any truly enthralling replacements for Pedro. You could say, well, Charlie Montoyo's managed a major league ball club before, but it's like, I don't care. I don't want to see Charlie Montoyo do that job. If they do want to call up Sergio Santos or maybe Jersley, cool. I'd be willing to see it, but I do think that likely Pedro will finish out the year, and maybe if the White Sox are lucky, the best thing that will come out of Tony La Russa still being with the team is his relationship with Skip Schumacher, and the White Sox get Skip Schumacher. Because I know that people are like, oh, Terry Francona, that'd be great. Terry Francona's feeling better. He's feeling less sick. Terry Francona's a dinosaur. God bless him. I love him. I know Bruce Bochy's done a good job, but I'm cool on
new blood.
Tito. Well, yeah, mainly because Tito's sick. There's no like guarantee that he'd be able to finish out an entire year. So we're gonna have to go back to Sergio Santos or some bench coach. Like, give me Skip Schumacher, who just finished his MLB career respectfully.
And yes, Pedro's job's in jeopardy. Ooh. Anybody? Greg Ken Band? No one?
The what?
Okay. Greg Ken Band. He's a song called
Is that a person?
Our Love's in Jeopardy. Greg Ken is his last name. K-I-H-N, I believe. And then Weird Al Yankovic did a song called I Lost on Jeopardy.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the what he was covering.
Our love's in jeopardy. Ooh, baby. Ooh.
That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader.
Just being old. That's an 80s song, so you would definitely not know it because it was way before you guys were born.
Yeah, but I mean, I know Eat It. You know, I know like that cover song. Like I know most of Weird Al's ones. I don't think I've ever knew that inspiration. I know White and Nerdy, Riding Dirty. You know,
Weird Al Yankovic is one of our greatest artists of our time.
Probably. You can follow me at Wood an Artist. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson to get that thumbs up button too. We appreciate it. Thank you to Victor Von Doom. Thank you to Fred, AJ, White Sox, Tom, Aiden, everyone hanging out with us, Samuel, Mini Dar. We appreciate it for not only the watch along, but also this post-game show. Herb and Missy Carroll will be back tomorrow for the post-game show, and Vinnie Duber will join them from Guaranteed Rate Field. Thank you to Sarah, our producer. We appreciate her help yesterday and today. We appreciate Herb Lawrence, again, at Ecknerwall23, at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show at CHGO_White Sox. They'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.